But also give thanks for God's gifts. That's the second point. Look there in verses 5 and 7. In every way you were enriched in him. That word enriched means to have so much money, to have so much resources that it's literally flowing out of your orifices. That's a big word. Holes in your body. You just got a ton. You're enriched in him in all speech and all knowledge. Verse 7, so that you are not lacking in any gift as you wait for the revealing of our Lord Jesus Christ. Talking about speech and knowledge, those were the two things that the Corinthians loved about themselves. And basically Paul is saying, even though you got a lot of problems when it comes to your gifts, and he's going to talk about that in 1 Corinthians 12, 13, and 14, he's going to address the gifts issue. Because even though there's a lot of issues, I'm thankful to God. I want you to be confident as it relates to your calling and as a church, because you've been given everything that you need. You have been enriched in Jesus Christ. Because of God's grace, not only are you forgiven and pardoned and free from the shame, but you're resourced with the gifts to do what it is that God's calling you to do. And it wasn't just true of the Corinthians, it's true for every single Christian, every single member of Broadview Baptist Church. If you've been given the grace of God, then you need to know this about yourself. You have been given gifts. You have been given the resources to do everything that God has called you to do, so you can be confident. Could you imagine if every person at Broadview exercised their giftedness without insecurity and without this sense of hopelessness, but with a sense of optimism and confidence because they knew God has resourced them to do what God has called them to do? That would revolutionize this church. We're going to talk about needing workers in preschool, needing the youth workers, needing this, needing that. The reason that the people who are at Broadview Baptist Church, the reason that you all are here, isn't just because you like the music, and it's not because you like the preaching or the children's ministry. All those things may be true, but God's much more intentional than that. God has brought specific people into this church because he has a specific calling and a specific future for this church. And those people who he has brought, he has gifted so that we will be able to obtain and achieve the calling for which God has called us. So exercise your gifts. Be confident with your gifts as it relates to your singleness or your marriage. By the way, singleness is a gift, so you be confident God's called you to singleness, that he can fulfill that in you. Whether that's you've got a calling to teach and you're going to work with teenagers or children, or you've got a calling of service. Instead of sitting back on your duff, or instead of being lazy, or instead of being fearful, well, I don't know what mine is, and what if they don't accept me, and what if I can't work enough? Instead of those excuses, you begin to move forward with confidence in the context of the local church and in the context of your workplace or your family, because you're confident that I've been gifted by God to do what he's called me to do. You're giving gifts for the present. So be confident and hopeful.